So now that the AMG's gone, I am stuck with this bad boy. It's a 99 Civic EX Coupe. Motor took a shit, and unfortunately I'm one of those type of morons where if the motor comes out, something better has to go in. But yeah, nothing special. So in the meantime, I'm going to be toying with this thing and swapping the motor. So I'll just keep uploading as I progress, keep you guys updated. So I got all the K-tune crap here. Got the fuel filter, the fittings, an extra fitting. This right here is going to go to the fuel pressure regulator, to this, to the fuel feed line, and to the intake manifold. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going down right now. Here's the K24A2 of the fuel rail installed already from Hybrid. The K-tuned idler pulley with the K-tuned belt. So this is the motor. That's the transmission, touched up, painted, ready to go. That one, I also changed the shifter spring in there. This is the OEM one right here. I'll post the image next to this if I still have it. But the hybrid one's much thicker and much harder to press down. So we'll see the progress on that once everything's installed. So with the hybrid shifter springs in, you could actually feel it. It's much more firm than the factory one. So engagement should be a lot better and more crisp and notchy. Here's the engine bay, of course. So I literally had to cut some holes down here to run the shifter cables through. I mounted the fuel pressure regulator. It's a K-tuned one, and it's E85 safe. So this one just mounts straight onto the strut tower. And I have this little baby here. I use this to cut the evap line right there, which normally circulates all the way to this area here. Got this mount on here just to test fittings with the shifter cable. So next I'm gonna route up the lines, get it ready, install the gauge, and we'll see what I could finish up from there before I lose sunlight. Alright, so got this fitting on here, -6, 90-degree bend to the K-tuned fuel filter. So the fuel is going to be flowing inwards and then out to here, to this part, to the fuel rail, and then it's going to return down here back to the return line down there. So since I'm using this filter external, I don't need this ugly ass shit anymore. So I'm gonna have to chop this entire line off to down there so I could run the new line braided all the way to this -6 fitting right there. So here's the ugly factory fuel filter. Just pretty much unmount it, bend it out. Then you get your little tube cutter. All you do is just tighten it, rotate, and then a full 360 degrees. Rotate that bitch, tighten it some more, go a few rounds all the way, tighten it, and then eventually this whole thing will snap off. Once it snaps off, then you gotta flare it. So right now I'm just mocking everything up to here just to get all the measurements correctly. So I'll flare it later, maybe in a separate video, but yeah, in the meantime, gotta get this baby off, and then we'll see where we'll go from there. Alright, so this piece is finally on. This is to the fuel feed line. This is just a mock-up, so you don't want to cut too far because then you won't be able to flare it. So I just shoved the hose all the way in there just for video purpose, so you guys can get the idea. So next, the fuel return all the way to that one right there where I taped it green. So this one here is the same exact concept. Don't have to show you guys again or explain it, but you guys pretty much get the deal. All right, there you have it. Everything legit, ready to go. we have here like a big main connector that goes to here. This is on the driver's side. So I'm gonna depin all of this and then feed it in through a little tiny hole right there. You can see it. So that way you don't see like a nice ugly glob of wires going from this plug all the way through this way back into that firewall. So I'm just gonna clean it up. I mean, I already took the headlight harness, so last thing I want to do is be lazy and make this shit look ugly. So basically, to depin this big ass plug, you need one of these, a little pick tool, and you need to remove the locking piece right here, this blue one. So once you remove that, there's little tiny gray clips in there. All you have to do is lift it up and pull it out, and that's how you depin this plug. So once everything is depinned, I'm going to feed it through that little hole. So yep, all these are depinned from the actual OEM plug. Now I'm going to feed it into that hole right there, which would pretty much route all the wires into the firewall where the clutch pedal's at. And that's pretty much how I'm going to wire this. That way I keep a somewhat tucked look. So now that it's all fed through the other side, you'll pretty much see it on this side here. Bam, there it is. So I taped it together so that way I could feed all the wires at once. Now I'm just gonna put it back into this plug and then get the conversion harness. This is the main plug here, and that pretty much clips into that unit there. So that way you don't see all this or none of the looms all the way in the engine bay and everything's hidden. There you have it. Everything's all put back together. Now I just got to put back that blue clip and then connect this and then wire up the rest. So that's pretty much how you do it. Some people think it's rocket science, but just take a bunch of photos, deepen the clip, feed it through the firewall, and call it a day. Alright, so pretty much this is what I'm doing. You pretty much get this and you feed it all the way to the other side through here, to the other side where the ECU is going to be, which is back over there in this little corner here, excuse the mess. So yeah, factory little mini grommet. I just drilled a hole through it and then I cut a line so that way I could feed the wires through, plug it up, tape up those wires there, maybe run this grommet, I don't know. I might even revert back and use some sleeves that I bought for the harness loom. It's like a mil spec style sleeve, so we'll see. As you can see, the little grommet's in right there. Now I don't have to worry about the wires being frayed. And I just gotta clean all these wires up and then we'll see how it looks from there. And there you have it. So added the loom, now it looks pretty much OEM, right back into the firewall. So it looks almost natural, as if it hasn't been touched. So now that that main plug is finished, I gotta figure out a way to clean all this bullshit up. But we'll see. Now, reverting back to the engine, I just cleaned it up a bit, so let me dig these out real quick. Throw these in this box. And this is my K-tune thermal gasket. It's pretty much self-explanatory on how to put it on. Trash that. And it pretty much just sits up on there. And that's all. So now, for the other bad boy. I got this thing here. This is the RBC intake manifold from the K20Z3 2006 2011 Civic SI. So yep, it sits here. Then in that FedEx box is my throttle body adapter to run the RSX throttle body. That's right over there behind the brake cleaner. So I'm gonna bolt this up and get back. This happiness doesn't come in a bag. So yeah, this is the thermal gasket. Just gonna mount onto here. This is the K2 throttle body adapter and the hardware and another gasket. And this is the RSX throttle body. So I'm gonna mount this up real quick. First I gotta remove these studs. And once it's all mounted up, I'll revert back to the video. So throttle body's on. You're gonna need a number 6 Allen to pretty much tighten all these down. So I guess the thermal gasket goes on the opposite side, which I thought I was going to go towards the manifold, but I guess I was wrong. And this also comes with the adaptive ring here. So if I do port this out and go with the larger throttle body, all I have to do is remove this ring and I could pretty much run a larger throttle body, no problemo. There you have it. RSX throttle body, K-tuned adapter, RBC intake manifold.
Doing some depinning today again. So this right here is the factory K24 A2 crank sensor. The Type S plug doesn't fit, so I depin this right here from the factory TSX harness. And there it is right there. So all I'm gonna do is depin these, run the wires in the same exact order into the TSX pin or clip, whatever you want to call it. So now that the factory harness has been depinned, I already took off the factory loom here, which is like this big bulky plastic stuff. I'm gonna replace it with this nylon here. That way it's a cleaner look, more like a wire tuck and stuff. So just pretty much just slide this over onto this harness, get some heat shrink, heat it up, melt it with a lighter or torch or whatever. Then after that, reconnect your pin, and then it should be able to plug in here into the TSX crank position sensor. Alright, see here how I got this entire loom over the shrink wrap into this. Now I'm gonna put the clip on and the pigtail, plug it up to this, and you'll see how much better it looks than just having this giant plastic piece of crap here. There it is. Now that it's put on and completed, it's much better, cleaner. And there's your new plug, well, your used plug from the TSX. And it plugs right in. Clipped. Where the older one is a blue plug for the actual RSX, if I could find it. Yeah, who gives a shit? You get the point. So now using nylon loom versus this black plastic hard stuff here, it's really not as flexible. This here is much more flexible, easier to move around, and it has a decent melting temperature of like 400 degrees, give or take. So of course I'm going to keep this far away as possible. But yeah, it's pretty much how you re-loom with the nylon. It's going to be a much cleaner look, and yes, I'll be doing this to my entire engine harness, all the way to here as well, to the main plug. So custom wire tuck, rather than spending 600 to 1,000 on it, you can just make your own for like a fraction of the cost. So I'm gonna redo the whole injector harness too, so everything is gonna be in this shit right here. So right now I'm like getting rid of all the looms, we're not gonna need it anymore, and then detangling everything. See all this spaghetti? So I'm gonna delete the junction box, so this bulky thing won't even be in the way anymore. I just depin this. So this is what it looks like when you depin it from this section. So instead of the harness going all the way on this side here, this is how the harness would normally go, this long crap, then looped around to the engine bay. I'm gonna transition this, combining it with a coil pack. It's my daughter over there crying.
So I'm going to transition this like this into the engine bay. Got the grams here. Let's see what we got. Flow rate. And lo and behold, 750 cc's. Get these babies in. Alright, so I got all the injector pigtails on, the fuel rail, and then the gram 750 cc's. So I have some of the lume wrapped up now. These also go to injectors, but since I removed the junction box, I had to crimp them all together, solder it with my Harbor Freight solder right there, just to get everything cleaned up. So here's one lume. So pretty much it looks like spaghetti, but realistically, once everything's all together and intact, you'll see the progress. But I'm gonna finish up the injectors and then show you what it looks like after. So here I gotta remove all the injector clips again and depin them, which is over here. So these are the locking clips you gotta remove from this portion inside. So once you remove it from this part, you're able to get a pick like this one and depin all the electrical connectors. So once I depin all that, I'm going to sleeve the yellow part, combine it, and then the injector should be entirely complete with heat shrink and all that good stuff. Alright, so it's a little dark out here, but see how everything's relumed all the way up there, and everything's wrapped up, nicely tucked. All the injectors, heat shrink, new lume. So now I just got to do the rest to this crap over here. This one's also wrapped up, similar to the mil spec, how it's all wrapped. So I added a little mil spec taste to it, but overall that's all I could do for today. I ran out of sunlight, and yeah, hopefully all this pays off and it actually looks pretty decent.